Today we are diving into something that is, well, it's pretty fascinating and maybe a little bit controversial. We're talking about the intersection of artificial intelligence and our own mental health. It's a brand new frontier, and believe me, it is raising some huge questions.
So let's just get right to it. I mean, this is the big one. And look, this isn't some sci-fi movie plot anymore. This is a real choice people are starting to face. So I want you to really think about it for a second. Could you tell your deepest, darkest secrets to a robot? It sounds like a simple yes or no, but you'll see it's way more complicated than that.
And why are we even having this conversation? Well, it's because the classic therapist couch is getting a serious digital makeover. There's a whole new wave of technology that's here, and it's promising support. It's promising anonymity and access like we've never seen before. But what are we really talking about?
We're talking about AI chatbots. Now, these are not the clunky customer service bots you might be thinking of. Nope. They use some seriously sophisticated AI trained on just enormous amounts of text to try and simulate a real, supportive, human-like conversation. Just think about it. It's kind of like having a therapist right in your pocket, ready to go 24/7.
But here's the thing you have to remember. Even with all the hype, this is all so new. A recent YouGov poll found that only 19% of adults are even familiar with these kinds of apps. That means for like 4 out of every 5 people, this is completely uncharted territory. We are right at the very beginning of this.
And because it's so new, well, it's no surprise that public opinion is just all over the place. How you feel about opening up to an AI seems to really depend on who you are, and maybe most of all, how old you are.
Okay, so take a look at this chart. It pretty much tells the whole story. If you look at the group on the left, the youngest adults, about a third of them say, yeah, I'd be comfortable talking to an AI therapist. But as you move to the right, to the older groups, you see that number starts to drop off.
And let's just flip that last number, because this is where it gets really striking. A massive 78% of people over 55 would be uncomfortable using an AI for mental health. So for them, this isn't just a small preference, it's a hard no.
But it's not just as simple as saying, oh, young people like tech. There's something deeper going on. A recent survey pointed to a growing loneliness epidemic, especially hitting people between 25 and 34, and that's completely changing who or what they're turning to for support.
And that leads to this stat, which, this one is just staggering. 2/3 of people in that age group would rather talk about their feelings with an AI than with a friend or a family member. That suggests that for a lot of people, AI isn't just some potential substitute for a therapist, it's actually filling a really fundamental gap in their lives.
So for the people who are on board with this, what's the big appeal? What's drawing them to this technology? Well, for the ones who are open to it, the reasons are actually super clear and really practical.
The number one reason, by a long shot, access. Just pure, simple access. Almost half of the users say it's all about the ease and the fact that it's always available. Right? There are no appointments, no waiting lists. If you need to talk to someone at 3 in the morning, the AI is there.
And the second biggest draw is this, the promise of absolutely zero judgment. For about a third of users, that's everything. Can you imagine a space where you can say literally anything without having to worry about what the other person or, program thinks of you?
Of course, for every point in favor, there's a pretty big concern on the other side. And when you're talking about something as important as mental health, the fears are, well, they're significant. People aren't just worried about their data, they're worried about whether these things are actually competent.
And here it is. This is the big one. The single biggest fear by far. A whopping 64% of people are worried about a potential misdiagnosis. What if the AI gets it wrong? Seriously wrong. That right there is the number one hurdle to building trust.
So because of that fear, it's not a huge surprise that most people don't see this as an either-or thing. More than half, 55%, think these AI chatbots should be integrated with the healthcare services we already have. They should be a tool for human professionals, not a total replacement. Only a small fraction want them to be completely on their own.
Okay, so the picture we're getting is one of public skepticism mixed with a little bit of cautious curiosity. But here is where the story takes a fascinating turn. When you change the context from our personal lives to our work lives, people's feelings about talking to a robot, they change dramatically.
You might want to sit down for this one. A survey found that 68% of people, that's more than 2 out of 3, would rather talk to a robot about stress and anxiety at work than talk to their own manager. Just let that sink in. People would rather talk to an algorithm
than their human boss.
And when you look at the reasons why, well, they're really telling. They look a lot like the general appeals we saw earlier, but they feel like they're cranked up to 11 in a work setting. People want that judgment-free zone, an unbiased outlet, and quick answers, all things they clearly feel they are not getting from their human bosses.
So, where does all of this leave us? To really get your head around the potential of AI in a field as messy and human as mental health, it actually helps to zoom out and look at what it's already pulling off in other incredibly complex fields.
Let's just do a quick rundown. In medicine, right now, an AI can analyze an X-ray and spot signs of disease with better accuracy and speed than a highly trained human doctor.
Over in finance, AI algorithms are analyzing insane amounts of market data and executing trades faster and more precisely than any human trader could ever hope to.
On our actual roads, AI is learning to navigate total chaos, making split-second decisions in self-driving cars. And in some situations, it's already better than us.
And the list, it just goes on and on. We're talking language translation, fraud detection, even robotic surgery. AI is already performing at superhuman levels in at least 21 different, highly complex areas. Its superpower is finding patterns in massive, messy piles of data. Which brings us right back to where we started. But now, that question feels a little different, doesn't it? When you see what AI is already capable of, the debate kind of shifts. Maybe the question isn't whether to choose a human or an AI. Maybe the future of therapy is a collaboration, a partnership, a world where we can talk to both. The only real question left is, are we ready for that?